brought you here because it's a really, really great experience when you have this very, very simplistic mirrored surface and the rock surface is coming out of the water and giving this beautiful contrast. We actually took that inspiration and took it onto the XC60. If you take a look at the seats, the way that we actually put this X theme in the seats, the way that we contrasted the actual colours and also the textures of the leather against each other. The X in the seat is quite a heavy texture compared to the bolsters of the seat, and that's also apparent in the doors, where the armrest of the doors has this beautiful heavy texture against this subtle, very, very soft texture in the outer parts of the doors. It's something that we work a lot with in Volvo design, is actually this contrasting of materials, and it works very well. What I really love about the interiors of Volvo cars, it's a place where you feel at home, where when you sit inside you feel relaxed. So when you see these beautiful flowing forms, you actually feel a sense of calmness, but it also adds a sense of dynamic as well, which is really, really great, and it's very exciting when you sit inside the car. It gives you this kind of driving dynamic, this feeling of I'm in control, but it's also very calming to be inside. I brought you here to show you how simple Scandinavian design can have a fantastic dramatic effect. The curvature of this building is so simple, so dramatic, that it gives an energy in its own. Its form, its simplicity, but also its functionality. One of the great things about designing in the interior of a car is actually looking at the exterior and what's going on the outside of the car. Steve Matting was really strong and adamant of how he wanted the face of the car, the exterior of the car to look. And we noticed that strong faces, things that people that you were most familiar with, had an asymmetry about them. If you take, for example, Sean Connery has a very raised eyebrow in some of the Bond films, and Robbie Williams, for example, curls his lip up when he's on stage. So we took that into the interior of the car and decided to make an asymmetrical instrument panel. We've taken the center stack and we've actually angled that towards the driver that we never did before, and that gives you a self-confidence, everything towards the driver, leaning in to give this driver dynamic. And what we wanted to do actually with the XC60 was take it a little bit higher, give a little bit more luxury feeling, and actually use the center stack to give this Scandinavian feeling, but also to give this asymmetry, self-confidence, performance feeling of an interior, and give that absolute driver dynamic for the XC60. The environment is really important to Swedes, and at Volvo we take this seriously as well. It's the honesty of our materials and the way that we produce the interiors and the air that we breathe inside our cars. It's not only about the details that you can see that make our interiors luxury, it's some of the details that you can't see. If you take, for example, the leather, we take the chrome out of the dyeing process, so it's not environmentally damaging. And one of the biggest allergies inside a car can be nickel from metals, so we take the nickel out of the brightwork inside the cars. Also, the air that you breathe is important to us as well. We have an IAQS system, which is an air quality system to bring new and fresh air inside the cabin without having dust and pollen. And we're also ERCO certified. We are the first car manufacturer actually to be ERCO certified against allergies inside a car. One of the most amazing things about Scandinavia is the amount of space that you have. This openness and this fantastic place to be. We used this to our advantage when we did the XC60 interior, the luggage area. We made as much space as possible. We made the opening area as broad as possible, and in fact it's the widest opening of any production car we've ever made. Having my first child, my daughter, when she was born, really changed the way I felt about designing interiors of cars. We had to be much more practical, much more functional, and use the space more practically, if you will. The way we folded the seats with one-touch simplicity, to use the car in a much more user-friendly way, and to get the split folding seats to fold flat at one touch was a really great example of that. We also used as inspiration a photo studio, where we didn't use angles of a room, we used this radii that they use in a photo studio as inspiration to create a visual large luggage area. We also made the seats fold 40%, 20% and 40%, and gave lockable storage under the floor, so once the tailgate's shut, all of your valuables are locked away. It's the perfect interior for a perfect car.